Rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our weekly Quran study with Dr. Yamina. We are studying the text of Said Nursi from Risale-i Nur. So inshallah, I will turn it over to Dr. Yamina to get our session started.
Thank you, Tasnia. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد في العالمين ربنا إنك حميد مجيد. بسم الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. So we still, inshallah, with the second chapter of the 23rd word from the Risale-i Nur. And this 23rd word is, as it is the case with the Risale-i Nur, reflections on a passage from the Quran. And we started the fourth remark. And last week, if you remember, we talked about the reality of taskhir, of everything being subjugated to us, everything, the whole creation being given to our service, everything created in order to serve life, to serve especially human life, and not only to serve us so that we can live in this world, but also so that we can get prepared for the eternal life, for the hereafter. And the second point in this fourth remark is the reality of our weakness and powerlessness, our ajz and faqr, and our needs, and how they are actually our strength. And in a way, they are our best asset and not a liability as it often feels to us. When we're living in ghafla, when we're living in ghafla, and therefore we are unaware, we're disconnected with the reality of taskhir, then we don't realize, it doesn't feel like we are right here and now guests of this powerful, all generous, all compassionate host, Rabbul Alameen, the sustainer of all world, our sustainer who sustains our life, our breathing here and now. So because we are unaware of that, that's not in our background, then we focus on what we think is missing in our little bubble, little world. And so in that little world, disconnected little world, our weakness feels unbearable, and that's why often we avoid feeling it. And when we are forced, when something happens that we don't like and we are forced to confront the reality, our reality, that we have all these needs and these desires, yet we are so powerless and so weak, we cannot control all the condition to have what we want. We cannot create. But in reality, here we're seeing that when we wake up, when we are aware of the reality of taskhir, then in fact, the way we are created as weak and powerless, and we have all these needs, is actually our strength. So from the beginning, He says, man resembles a delicate and petted child in the universe. There is a great strength in his weakness and great power in his impotence, in his powerlessness. Because it is through the strength of his weakness and the power of his powerlessness that beings have been subjugated to him. If man understands his weakness and offers supplication verbally and by state and conduct, and recognizes his powerlessness and seeks help, since he has offered thanks by exhibiting them, because if we are aware of our powerlessness and weakness, then of course whatever is with us, we will become aware that they are all gifts and blessings given to us. Otherwise, we will think that they belong to us. We're working hard for them. We achieved and acquired all these things. And there is something that from time to time I ask God for help. But here, that recognition of our powerlessness itself is in a way a form of gratitude, because if I'm aware of my needs, I'm aware that my needs are being taken care of at the same time. And his desires are subjugated to him in a way far exceeding what he could achieve with his own power. We've seen that in the remarks before, like what we take for granted, a glass of water. We cannot make it, nothing can create it. Only the one who has control over every single thing, all of the creation, all of the world, the galaxies, everything, can create and sustain that water. Only he sometimes wrongly attributes to his own power the attainment of a wish. This is something that we do all the time, unless we are conscious of the reality of taskhir, that everything is being given to us, being subjugated to us, then by default, we attribute everything to ourselves and to other things around us, to the so-called causes. And that's the basis of shirk. Only sometimes he wrongly attributes to his own power the attainment of a wish that has been obtained for him through the supplication offered by the tongue of his disposition, because we are not always asking for help through our words, but sometimes through our head, through our way of being. When someone is sick, he is seeking health, for instance. And then he says, for example, the strength in the weakness of a chick causes the mother hen to attack a lion. So the chick is very weak, but because it is weak, Allah subjugates the hen to protect it. So there is strength in the weakness. When the chick grows a little bit, that's it. The mother doesn't feed it, doesn't go around protecting it as much anymore. And its newly born lion cub subjugates to itself the savage and hungry lioness, leaving the mother hungry and the cub full. See this strength in weakness and this manifestation of divine mercy, of rahmah, which are worthy of notice. See, there is strength in weakness, and there is weakness and powerlessness attract rahmah, attract divine mercy. And we can only all have seen this in a household. If there is there's a group of people, the moment a small child comes in, and especially if it's a baby, the more powerless and helpless the child is, like a baby, everyone, if the baby just makes some noises, everyone wants to help. We all, I mean, normally, and under normal circumstances, people will want to help. And if the mother or the person responsible for the child is not around, then everyone will try to do something. Is the baby hungry? Does he need something? So weakness, there is strength in weakness, and it attracts also divine mercy. Just as through crying or asking or looking unhappy, a child subjugate the strong to himself. This is true. Like if we are going in the street and a grown-up is crying, maybe some people may ask, but lots of people won't ask, will just look. But if it's a child, the younger the child is, everyone will stop. And what's going on with this child? How can we help? A child subjugates the strong to himself and is so successful in getting what he wants that he could not obtain 1,000th of it with 1,000 times his own strength. Even if he was 1,000 times more stronger, he couldn't do that. Yet, just because of his weakness, he attracts the help and the compassion. And that is to say, since weakness and impotence and powerlessness, ajz, excite compassion, they attract compassion, rahmah, and a sense of protection towards him, towards the child. The child can subjugate heroes to himself with his tiny finger. Now, should such a child with foolish conceit deny the compassion and accuse the protection, saying, I subjugate these with my own strength, of course he will receive a slap. It means it would be foolish of him. And that's exactly what we do when we are unaware. Things are sent our way, are created to controlled by other things that they are not under our control. Yet at the end, when we get what we set out to look for, we don't pause and reflect, how did this happen? How much was mine and how much was just given to me? And then if we start reflecting this way, we'll see that even the part when we think we are doing something, that is also given. We are inspired, we are given all the senses, the seeing and the hearing and the thinking and the feeling, everything. So even the part that we think, this part is mine, this is my contribution, even that is really not ours. Yet it feels that we do subjugate things with our own strength. We are doing things. We're producing things. We're creating results. All this is foolish because it's based on an illusion. And it is this illusion is going to be the seed of shirk everywhere in our life. In the same way, if like Qarun is mentioned in the Quran, also known as Korah in English. If like Qarun, man says, I have been given have been given this. Qarun was speaking about his wealth and power on account of the knowledge I have. إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ. That is, I gain this through my own knowledge and my own power in a way that demonstrates ingratitude. Does it make sense here? Why is it ungrateful to say that I gained this through to my own knowledge and my own power? He's saying it demonstrates ingratitude and denies his creator's mercy and accuses his wisdom. Is it true? Or is it too much?
Where did you get the knowledge?
Yes.
You know, if this knowledge was from one person himself or herself, then it should remain the same when you were born, when you were a teenager, when you were adult, and when you were old. So because if it was your own possession, your own requirement, then it should stay with you as long as you want it to stay. But that's the proof that it's not acquired by you. It's been given.
Mm-hmm. So the knowledge is definitely given. We agree with that. And what I do once I have the knowledge and I take action, when I'm taking those action, I'm also using something in the world that is being created, and I'm using my body, my eyes, my everything that is with me is also created, right? So it's not only the knowledge, but the action guided by that knowledge is also not from me.
So the means are also not from me. Yeah, the means to acquire are also granted.
Right. And so when it feels like I am achieving something, normally we say it feels like I'm achieving it, and then we say Alhamdulillah at the end. Where is this ingratitude coming from? It may feel like I'm not ungrateful. I say Alhamdulillah at the end. Why is he saying it's demonstrates ingratitude and denies his creator's mercy?
Is it because there's still something standing out that isn't being entirely given back or acknowledged as belonging to the creator? There's still a few, like most of 80% here belongs to God, but there's a few things, my knowledge, my energy level, that have caused something.
Mm-hmm. If it were not, we don't know if it's 20% or it depends on the person. If there was 100% given to God, will there be anything I could claim for myself? Whether knowledge or anything, or here he's saying the knowledge is mine, therefore the result is mine. The wealth I acquired is also mine. In between, it means in between is mine. Or he says, Utituhu, I have been given. Yes, it's been given to me, but it's given to me because of something in me. So he's saying it's been given, but if it is on account of the knowledge I have, can I be truly grateful 100% to God? When we say Alhamdulillah, we are saying praise belongs to God only. But here I'm saying, as Inaba said, like some of it belongs to God, but there is my part as well. This is the issue of shirk, is the issue of people who do not deny God or believe in God, but still in the process of Tawheed, inshallah. Otherwise, the others don't say it was given. Well, maybe I know people who don't believe in God and would say it was given to me because they feel that it is given, but who gave it, it's not there. They don't think about that. It doesn't interest them. But here, as far as we're concerned, people who believe in God, or people who at least do not deny, because often we think we are believers, but unless we become students of the Quran, learning and seeking guidance from the Quran, from divine guidance, if we don't feel the need for divine guidance, it means that we are conflating not denying God with believing in God. But not denying God is the first step. But then, in order to believe God, we need to know who God is. And only God can show us and describe to us who he is. And when we look at the Quran, every time he tells us to look at his creation. And it is through his creation that we get to know him. And only then we can say we believe truly, we believe in God, because we have witnessed, we have performed the shahada.
Everybody go to the bathroom and brush your teeth. Luqman, you need to do it, Habibi.
Tisnia, can you make sure everyone is...
Yes, so I checked, so everyone is muted. So inshallah, please make sure that your mics are muted.
Yeah, unless someone wants to talk, then they can unmute themselves, inshallah. Thank you. So here, as long as we feel something, I have some contribution in whatever is given to me, then it's not only in that part, actually. If we look at the teaching of the Quran, it's not, there is no way 80% is God's and 10% or 20% is mine. When I believe that 20% is mine, when I'm claiming that, in reality, it means that I'm giving 0% to God in that particular issue. Does it make sense?
Dr. Yamin, I have a question.
Yes.
So, processing this, like 100% is God, and as we go through our day to day and we observe and witness the things happening around us, like I know sometimes, like I feel this, like almost like I think fear is a strong word, perhaps anxious that, if I were to relinquish this claim of 20%, like I'm somehow relinquishing control. I don't know if that makes sense. So how do we come to terms with the 100% and relinquishing, like, maybe this need to, like, I feel like, okay, like if I can, if I know that I'm doing my part, then it's like I have some, I don't know, like you know, I know like in my head, it's like, I understand it, but I think sometimes I still struggle to feel like, yeah, like.
But is that really relinquishing? Are we giving up anything? Can I give up something that never belonged to me in the first place?
I see.
That's why I said this is actually, thank you for bringing this up, because here, why I stopped, because it may feel like, yes, Qarun, he was an arrogant guy. Allah gave him wealth, and then he appropriated to himself. But he's still saying, I have been given to it, but I was given to it. No, it was not given to you, it was given to me because of my knowledge. And so it seems like there is still, we are giving something to God and a little bit to ourselves. Now, so far, we talked a lot about Tawheed versus Shirk. Shirk is when I look at the world and I see only horizontal relationships. Things are happening, one thing is causing the other. That's shirk. And so in those relationships, seemingly horizontal relationship, there is also human will, free will. I'm also doing things and therefore causing things and creating things, it seems to us. So that's why I said, when we think that we are giving 80% to God in one particular issue, 80% to God, 20% to myself, we are actually deluding ourselves, because if 20% belongs to me, it means I'm already seeing things in the wrong way. I'm already seeing things horizontally. And so that 80% is only taqlidan, giving to God, is only a wishful thinking, is only I am attributing it with my words. But in my true experience of the world, how I feel about things, how I'm perceiving everything around me, if 20% belongs to me, then the rest of the 80% also belongs to everything else, because the horizontal and the vertical cannot coexist. When I'm aware that everything is from God, it means I am performing conscious shahada. When I'm performing the shahada, 100%, everything, there is nothing that is related to the other horizontally. They are all related to each other. Actually, each is related to everything else through divine power, through divine wisdom, through divine control. Actually, it is the way they are connected, interconnected with each other, that is the ayah, that is pointing and indicating an all-encompassing control and power and knowledge and wisdom. And so in that, when I witness that, there is no way I can still feel that little bit is mine. If I feel that a little bit is mine, it means in that particular instance, I have not witnessed anything. I have not done the work. And when I say it's from God, I am just repeating something that is not coming from the heart. It has not been confirmed. There is no witnessing there. There is no testimony. It just, I believe in God. It must be from God. It must be from God, but is it or not? If it is from God, how come you still believe that you can have a share in it? Because when we truly witness it's from God, we will realize that it is 100%. That's why in the Qudsi hadith, it says, Allah doesn't accept less than 100%. And 100% is one. That's what oneness is about.
Dr. Yamina, I feel like this is what you're saying, just to reiterate what I'm understanding from what you're saying, is that it's either we know him or we don't know him. If we're having
or at least we don't remember him in that instance. Maybe we experienced something in the past, now we forgot.
Because if we know him, then we are with a vertical connection that is encompassing the whole plane of our existence. It's not like one light, vertical light coming up from this one thing in my life, and then the rest of it, there's no light connection. No, it's the whole plane of existence is vertically connected. And if it's not, then I haven't met him yet. It took a while for me to understand when people say God is absolute, like what that meant. And I'm still learning what it means, but it's starting to more and more mean we're talking about absolutely ultimate, total, 100%. There can't be anything left over. If there's anything left over, I still haven't met him. In the sense that, like, in one sense, you know, that like I am not recognizing him in this situation. Because it's either I know the colors of the one I'm talking about, or I don't know it. I know the attributes of the one I'm talking about, or the one I'm sensing, or I don't know it at all. And the one that we sense through our need is one that is totally, through like our ultimate need, is one that's totally 100% absolute, ultimately in control of everything. And anything else is, like you said, an imaginary concoction of like a deity or something that we are halfway believing in, halfway not.
Yeah, thank you. So it's either 1 or 0, and the absoluteness is as abd, as a worshipper, we come closer to it when we experience and accept our reality, because we have 0 control. We have 0 life belonging to us. My life right now is 100% given to me. Just like that. It's not a little bit mine and a little bit God gives me, or mostly God gives it to me, but a little bit is mine. And the control also. You say, but I have some control. Yes, but it's also given. It's like I have sight. I cannot see behind the wall. Our vision is limited. And actually, the vision that is given to us is given to us in order to understand that God is all-seeing. It is not given to us so that, oh, my vision is limited, I have to work more and get more like tools to see more and more. Even the tools like telescopes and microscopes are, again, to widen the range so we understand the all-seeing even more and even better. We understand that seeing can be endless. And our knowledge is the same. Our knowledge is limited, and I can learn anything, lots of things, but the learning process is also given to me, and what I learn is given to me, and keeping it in my memory is also given to me. And anything can, how do we know it's not under control? They can disappear. I have no control over them.
Can I ask one question?
So yeah, just the relinquishing here, there is nothing to give up. Because even the control that we have is, we have only as much control as we are given. So when I say that God is the 100% in control, it doesn't mean that now, even that little bit that I could control is taken away from me. It's like, just because I said God is all seeing, now I became blind. No, now my seeing becomes something that every day, whenever you remember, it's a miracle. How can this flesh see? Surely it's not flesh that is seeing. Who is seeing? Who is making me see when I'm seeing? Someone is making me see. This body doesn't know how to see. Why doesn't my hand see? So the control is not relinquished. The control becomes a means, an ayah, a unit of measurement, as Imam Nursi says, to know, to remember that all the control is in our sustainers, belongs to him. And how do I know? Because he gave me this little limited control. And with that control, I realized that everything is under control. Yes, please, go ahead and ask.
Okay, thank you. So when I think about this, I follow, okay, I guess I should start with, oftentimes at the beginning of a book, people will write, everything in this is, like, all the good in this or all the truth in this is from Allah, and just the mistakes are mine, or something to that effect. I think when we return to this point of control and of 100%, the one area where I still feel confused often is when it comes to mistakes. So it just feels like, I mean, that saying kind of resonates with me, like, okay, 100% of, achievement or blessing or power is Allah's. But what about the mistakes? Those seem like mine. So I don't know if you can speak to that.
When you think of mistake, what comes to your mind? How would you define or describe mistake?
So for me, it's like, when I'm sincerely repenting about something I did, and then a week later, I do the same thing. And it's something that harms myself and harms other people. So, something like the way that I use my language when I'm angry with my kids or with my husband, or even like things that happen at just the level of my heart, like when I feel like I'm attaching my yearning for happiness to, like, a particular individual or a particular outcome of a situation, like making that mistake of just kind of like putting my hope on things, circumstances happening in a particular way, and assuming that I can't be happy, or at least, it will be a negative thing in my life if that doesn't happen that way. So, those sort of like that to me feels like a mistake, right? And so does like speaking in anger, or assuming the worst of someone, or being suspicious, or these sorts of things.
So they are usually related to a lie. I believe in a lie, for instance, when although I confirmed many times that, for instance, what I need is not from other people or other things, but still I go back to that false belief. It's a false belief.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that takes us to shirk, that's why a shirk is described as dhulmun azim. a great wrong, injustice, it's because it's based on falsehood.
Mhm.
So when we are following what is true, it's from God, because the desire and the inclination and the need to follow the truth, we are created like that. It's in our fitrah. The truth is shown to us in the creation and in the scriptures, in the revelation, revealed to us. And we are sent, the teacher, the prophets, to show us, to guide us. So if at the end I don't go against the fitrah and follow that guidance, can I claim the outcome as mine?
If you don't go against the guidance, then no.
It's like
But-
the eye is created, let's say, someone who can see. So my eye is created to see, and just because it's seeing, I say, therefore, this is my something that I achieved. No, what is mine is, I mean, metaphorically, because in reality, even that is not mine. And here it's because it's not a lie. When I can only close my eye.
Mhm.
The only choice I have is I see darkness, and that's it. I cannot make my eye not see.
Mhm.
But in reality, in fitrah, we have been given free will. And so we can follow the right path, follow the fitrah, follow divine guidance, follow divine inspiration. And sometimes, either through habit, it's a habit, or it's something that we are still unwilling to let go of. It means the ego is still claiming ownership of something, claiming existence, independent existence. That is an illusion. That is self-deception. It doesn't exist. There is no such a thing as me existing on my own. And so anything that happens and wakes me up from that, I become angry. I reject it. Those are usually the mistakes that you described, are mistakes that are based, and usually in life, they are based on falsehood, on lie. That's why we can claim ownership, not of the creation and what happens, that is still created, but the responsible is me. I'm responsible for the mistake because I'm the one who did not follow what was supposed to be followed. And especially, as you said, like things that we do habitually. So we learned, and we don't, instead of learning from that and changing our behavior, usually we go again, do it again. And it's because it's not enough to know that what we did was wrong. We have to find out what is underneath, what is the false belief underneath that action. It is only when we relinquish, when we give up, when we acknowledge that this is a false belief, that each time when we find ourselves going back to the same behavior, then we can catch ourselves and say, no, that is not a true thing. It is not true. And it becomes, it will have less and less hold onto us. The more we believe something, the more it will control how we think, how we feel, and therefore how we behave.
Yeah, thank you very much. That makes sense. At first, when you were describing it, I was thinking about a lot of the examples I gave and it made sense. But then I was like, wait, when I get angry with my children, what's the false belief? But then I realized actually, yeah, the days when I can handle, their difficult behavior sometimes well are the days when, I feel kind of like a deeper connection and a deeper sense of peace. And so I just can see them like they're kids, they're growing, they're learning. And then it's the days when I have these sort of these false beliefs where I project too much onto what's happening. So like I'll imagine that if they're rude to me, it means that they're going to be extremely rude for the rest of their lives or something.
Well,
Or it's something
even,
about like, yeah.
even if, let's say, truly something happened that that really anyone next to you will say, yes, you are right, this shouldn't be happening. When anger comes to us and we are aware, we are not just acting in ghafla, then my relationship with anger will change, because that anger is now a messenger. It's guidance. So in the name of God, I'm going to receive it. What shall I do now? But when my relationship with anger is horizontal, it's me who is angry. And therefore, I will act on this anger however I'm used to, without thinking. There is no wisdom.
Right.
And this shouldn't be happening, because now I feel like things are not under my control. Everything is happening horizontally in this scenario. I should say something to the children and they should just listen to it. And it should have an effect, but it's not having. And so I get angry. It's my anger and I'm acting on my anger. But if these children are a trust and they are under someone's control, so things are not out of control. And so their Rabb is sending me this emotion, this anger, whatever, that is telling me this is unacceptable. Something maybe needs to be revised in my relationship with them. That's it. So instead of shouting, which will have no result, actually it will be just worse. And especially if it's done all the time, it won't have any, they will just get used to it. Oh, mom is getting angry again, that's it. Just pause and either think about it, maybe make istishara, consult other people. What shall I do in this situation? And maybe that will need also sitting with the children and consulting with them. Like, I don't agree with what's happening. What shall we do with this? So it doesn't mean necessarily that when I'm angry, it's always I'm imagining something. No, it could be that truly there is something to be angry about. But how I relate to anger and how I act, therefore how I act on that anger, is totally different. Maybe that anger is divine guidance. You see what I mean?
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much for clarifying.
So it's just like being in that space of listening, because whatever is happening is coming from my Rabb. Everything is taskhir, everything is being subjugated to me. Anger is also subjugated to me. Either I realize that truly the children did something that all children did. I was tired or something, and so this anger is reminding me that you need to check your own belief. Maybe I'm saying I'm taking care of these children every day. If I keep saying this, I will feel tired, even mentally and emotionally, and that will make me exhausted physically as well. Or it could be that there is truly something that needs to be addressed. In any case, that anger is coming to teach me something. So the whole thing is to listen to it. But usually we don't listen to it because it's my anger. I am angry, and you can't make me angry. It feels.
So Dr. Yamina, I guess on the flip side of what Kelly was saying, just so that I'm understanding this. So you talked about the analogy of the eye, how, you know, the eye was created and the sight that's given to the eye is created. So therefore, you know, we can't claim ownership of, you know, this sight. So similarly, I think what I'm hearing you say is that we have been created with fitra, with this goodness. So when we choose to do good, it is because we were created with this fitra to do good. So therefore, we can't claim ownership of doing that goodness. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Also, my mistake really becomes my message. And everything in here becomes the ayah for me, the message for me. So in that way, it's a way of handing back to God what belongs to him. And I find that to be like the cure on the other wing of the fly, because when we have these like I statements that are, or these false statements that we're carrying around, it ends up that if we really like analyze what's in that message, it's probably another need or a desire that we've already been given. And when we realize that everything here is a message, it becomes a cure in itself. For example, I'm starting to think more and more that the reason why, we keep on wanting, or we keep on claiming control, and is because we actually like control. And if we like control, the great news is somebody does have control. So that's actually good news. Like, this is here. God is enough for you, for he's the best disposer of affairs. So it's like, guess what? Everything you actually want, he has. And so in your life, even if you do find, that falsehood, look for the cure on the other wing, because perhaps in it, you'll find that what you think you want from yourself or something else, actually your Lord has it waiting for you. It was his, it's all his.
Mm-hmm. Actually, let's put it in this way. If we like control, and when we look at it, actually, we've been created with the need for control. Where we get confused is, just because I need control doesn't mean that the control has to come from me. Especially, there are situations where clearly I have no control. I have no control over the future, over so many things happening right here and now. And so that need is what takes me to the source of the control, because lo and behold, I have need for control, or actually I have need for things to be under control, not for control. And we start struggling for being in control because we want things to be in control. And when we find out that so many things are under control, and the things that are seemingly given to our control are tiny ones, like in our body, everything is taken care of. What is given to us is, for instance, brushing our teeth, cleaning our body, just the skin, only outwardly. Inwardly, so many things are being taken care of. And so it is with the world, with the creation. The things given to us are there just to understand the meaning of control and to appreciate, realize and appreciate and acknowledge that everything is under control. So we have the need for things to be under control, but when we don't relate to God, when we don't notice and acknowledge the taskhir, that everything is being subjugated to us, someone is in control of everything, everything is controlled very orderly and harmoniously. When we find that, then it's okay. Then I understand that what is given to my control is there for me to realize, to appreciate what it means to be in control. So I understand the one who is in control of everything. And then I come back and give back the amana, the trust, the little control that I think I have is also, even that, if I surrender to the will of God, I will be guided so that everything becomes under his control, which is the reality. It's just like I need to experience it in my life in order to be able to testify it and to reap the fruits of it, the benefits and the blessings of letting everything be under his control. So even the things that are seemingly under my control, I ask for guidance. And when we don't know this, then we frantically trying to control things, because otherwise it will feel like everything is falling apart. So we have the need for things to be in control. And when we realize that everything is already under control, and the part that is seemingly that is flexible, that given to my choice, that is where I get to celebrate that the control that I see in the universe in my inner life. Because the more we surrender to the divine will, the more we feel the need for divine guidance and strive to act accordingly, the more we taste that he is in control here and now, not only out there, but inside, everywhere. And then, yes, hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. God is enough for us, for he's the best disposer of affairs. He's the one who is in control of everything.
Sister Yamina, what I'm getting is that now, if we want to give it back to him, then we start witnessing wherever there's the need to just witness how things are being done, to become a witnesser, to take yourself out of the situation, just to see from outside and see it unfolding in the best way possible and planned. Because most of the things are not under control. Only few things Allah has given. So that's a big blessing, that the most needed thing, air, is not in our control. The water is not in our control. So alhamdulillah. So we don't have, our body is not in our control. 99% of it being taken care of. So the only percentage that's been given to us is to taste his control, the measure, to make it as a measure of witnessing.
Yes.
his control. And then each and every action, like even cooking, not even cooking is also big thing to witness, unfolding, or me being used for anything, like being forced and driven to a place where initially I thought I won't go, but then seeing yourself in that space and place and being used, then you start giving up the ownership. No, I had no intention to be here, and I was made to come here, and how Allah used me. Then each and every action becomes a witnessing of him doing and controlling in the most perfect way, which we can never control. So main thing I'm getting is that start witnessing it. Use those opportunities to witness wherever you feel the control is not in my hand. Then it's a as you said, then it's an opportunity, and it's a gift to see the one who is in control.
Yes, yes. And we go back each time to Shahada. That's why Shahada is at the very center of being a surrenderer to the will of God. Shahada, yeah, witnessing again and again, inshallah.
And also, when it's becoming very helpful for me to remember that this is an attribute of God. So obviously, but like we say, like, let's witness his beauty, let's witness his mercy, and all of us are like, yes, and I know how to do that. Or I shouldn't say it that way. I'm more familiar with witnessing his beauty. I'm more familiar with witnessing some mercy. Control is another one of those attributes.
Yes.
So the more we are, it was one that was maybe harder to realize that it was because there was so much ownership of it. But once you do, with more and more witnessing of it, inshallah, we all of us are relinquishing control as something we ever owned, just like we come to know all the other attributes as something that is obviously coming from him, the beauty of this creation, the mercy in this creation, the wisdom of this creation, the control of this creation. Yes, babe, girl. Yeah.
Yes, it's just like all the names of God. Actually, as we get deeper into a name of God, which means we are not attributing it to ourselves, because for all the names of God, we start in the horizon, in the outer world. And then for Tawheed to truly happen, we have to take it and apply it to our inner world, to the self. It's only when the self gives up ownership of the names of God, of those attributes, that we can truly 100% witness and testify that the reality, that they are truly belong to God alone. When it is in the outer world, it could be ilm al-yaqeen, it could be like certainty of knowing, but it becomes certainty of witnessing, certainty of living it. It is our reality. There is no Tawheed, true Tawheed, until we give up, the ego gives up those qualities. And when we give them inside, it becomes easier to recognize them outside as not belonging to the things that we are seeing. We start seeing the world vertically, how everything is indicating a source of all-encompassing beauty and control and power and knowledge. So in fact, it seems easier with knowledge and with rahmah, with compassion and with love, But if we look deeply, it's just more obvious with control and less obvious, more subtle with beauty and compassion. When it comes to the inner world, how much are we truly giving up? And truly, it's like symbolized by going to sajda. In prostration, we are saying, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. Like Subhan is like refuting all kinds of shirk, because God is the Most High. I am zero. That's ubudiyya. Zero means I am zero creator, zero any of the names of God. I'm zero alive from myself. It means I am not a source. Everything that is on me is just a mirror. It's just passing through me. It is not mine. The more we practice that, the more we acknowledge that, the easier it becomes to affirm that everything belongs to our sustainer. And it becomes so easy. Can you imagine if because we're putting on we're assuming a burden that we are not created to bear. And suddenly we find out that we don't have to bear any burden. Everything is being done unto me right here and now. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah. We make life difficult for ourselves by claiming ownership of the attributes of God that do not belong to us. So he's saying, so don't, in the same way, if like Qarun, man, it means any one of us, and we do it all the time without realizing, astaghfirullah. And that's why we are coming together to reflect and to learn from the Quran in order, because God is speaking, because we need this guidance. God is giving us the formula, the shortest way to prosperity in this world and in the next. So inshallah, the more we practice, the more we will be away from this path of ghafla, path of darkness, part of oppressing ourselves. And the more the ego gets bigger, we start oppressing the people around us as well, at small or large scale. So what Qarun said, I have been given it, the wealth and the power, on account of the knowledge I have. That is, I gained this much through my knowledge and my own power, in a way that demonstrates ingratitude, because in that attitude, he thinks he got it through his own power. So there is no genuine gratitude to the giver, because it's like, of course you have to give it to me, and denies his creator's mercy and accuses his wisdom as if he gave it to him just because of his knowledge. But actually, we don't know what the wisdom is. Wisdom looks to that person, to Qarun, and to other people, and to all the beautiful names of God, and to Akhirah. There are so many dimensions that we can't say we understand. He will, of course, deserve a punishing blow. This means that man's domination and human advances and the attainments of civilization, like whether you call it technology or science or everything, have been made subject to him, not through his attracting them or conquering them or through combat, but due to his weakness. They are given, they are all gifts. But a human being, even when one single human being hasn't done anything, we take also pride in humanity. We say, yes, but humanity, we have done this. Like, but what is that? That is only using the laws of the universe with the mind and the inspiration. Even the inspiration is given. How someone thinks of something new. You say, oh, something came to my mind. Where did it come from? He has been assisted because of his powerlessness. So again, he's saying everything is given to you not because of some knowledge, some superiority, something that you have in you. No, it's just the opposite. It's because you are weak, you are powerless, you only have needs, you have nothing. That's why things are given. They have been bestowed on him due to his indigence. He has been inspired with them. So many things are inspirations with them due to his ignorance. If he knew, why do you need to wait and be inspired? Just be and it is. Just think of it. Why do you have to have labs? Why do you have to research then? Don't research, you know. It means it's not from us, due to his ignorance. What belongs to us is ignorance. But I know lots of things. Yeah, but those things are all, where did they come from? We're collecting information and knowledge and wisdom. And how do I know they're not mine? Even if someone is not used to reflecting on the process of acquiring, of receiving this, just the fact that we have no control is enough to understand that we're not the true owners. They have been given to him due to his need. When we need something, it is given. Just like when we're hungry, we eat. People who are curious are more likely to acquire knowledge. For instance, people who like eating may be better cooks because they have a need for that, need here, not necessarily like hunger. They are attracted to that. They like it. They appreciate it. And the reason for his domination is not strength and the power of knowledge, because knowledge is also given, but the compassion and the clemency of the sustainer and divine mercy and wisdom, rahma and hikmah. They have been subjugated. They have subjugated things to him. So the sustainers, the compassion and mercy and wisdom of the sustainer is what is subjugating everything to us. Yes, what clothes man who is defeated by vermin like eyeless scorpions and legless snakes, what clothes man in silk that from a tiny worm and feeds him honey from a poisonous insect is not his own power, but the subjugation of the sustainer. So this is something that we can use as a comparison. An insect produces silk and we can make cloth out of it. Clearly, the one who creates the insect, the silk, the one who inspired it to weave that silk is all not ourselves. And the honey, it's like a bee, an insect, and makes honey, food for you. And we can take this and apply it to everything. It's not his own power, but the subjugation of the sustainer and the bestowal of the most merciful, which are the fruit of his weakness. So everything is the fruits of our weakness. And our weakness, whether we acknowledge it or not, whether we accept this reality or not, it is the fact It is a fact that human being is vulnerable, fragile, a transient being. We can live this world any time. We have no control over where we are born, in where, when, and we have no control over when we live, over our life or over our death. Clearly, this life itself is not ours. How can we claim anything that pertains to this life? So, O man, given this situation, since the reality of the matter is thus, give up egotism and arrogance. With the tongue of seeking help, proclaim your powerlessness and weakness at the divine court. So how do we seek help? When we say, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, if I am not truly, I'm not aware of my powerlessness, my weakness, how am I going to ask help? It means everything, I'm taking care of everything, but there is one little thing, please God, can you help me with this? This is not sincerity. I'm deluded. I'm just deceiving myself. Everything I need him to breathe, to see, we just take them for granted. So with the tongue of seeking help, proclaim. Now we're doing the opposite. Like when we are seeking help, what we are doing, I have to be aware that I'm proclaiming. It means I'm accepting, acknowledging, proclaiming, because this is my fakhri, my weakness and neediness is my asset at the divine court, not to other people. And with the tongue of entreaty and supplication, proclaim your poverty, your need and need. Show that you are his abd, his worshipper, his slave, his servant. Say, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, and rise in degree. God is enough for us, and he is the best disposer of affairs. The context for this ayah, I have been given it on account of the knowledge I have, is interesting. In Surah Al-Qasas, Surah 28, ayah from 70 to 83. So I'll just read the text, the passage from the Quran. Of course, the English, we don't have time for the Arabic, and we're not studying the language of the original passage. So this is an interpretation. He is God, Hu Allah. There is no God, no deity, nothing worth worshipping except him. Hu Allahu la ilaha illahu. Lahul hamd, all praise belongs to him in this world and in the next. His is the judgment, and to him you shall be returned. Say, have you ever considered if God were to cast perpetual night over you until the day of resurrection? What God other than he would bring you light? Do you not listen? Say, have you ever considered, actually, have you seen, ara'aytum, have you seen if God were to cast perpetual day, it was perpetual night, and then perpetual day over you until the day of resurrection. What God other than he could give you a night in which to rest? Do you not see? Actually, I don't want to go in, but this night and rest in the Quran, and also sleep and rest. I was reading something, and it was saying, like, how the brain when we are sleeping is not only the physical body is resting, but all kinds of processes of what happens to us, especially our emotional response to the world, everything is being rearranged, and like there is healing happening over during sleep. Subhanallah, it's not just we take it, I've just rested, like as if our physical being is resting. It's much more deeper than that. And this is only what this materialistic science is finding. Allahu Alam, if they were asking other questions, what other things we could find out. So it says, who other than God, other than He, could give you night in which to rest? Do you not see? In His mercy, He has given you night and day so that you may rest and seek His favor during the day and be grateful. Why are we resting and seeking favor? In order to be grateful. The day will come when He will call out to them, saying, where are the partners you claimed for me? We shall call a witness from every community and say, produce your proof. And then they will know that the truth belongs to God alone, and that what they used to fabricate will forsake them. Qarun, Korah, was one of Moses' people. So he's not one of Pharaoh's people, but he oppressed them. He oppressed his people. We had given him such treasures that even their keys, he had so much wealth that even their keys would have weighed down a whole company of strong men. His people said to him, do not gloat, for God does not like people who gloat. He's showing off his wealth. Seek the life to come by means of what God has granted you, and do not neglect your rightful share in this world. Do good to others as God has done good to you. Do not seek to spread corruption in the land, for God does not love those who spread corruption. But he answered, in order to do, if the wealth is given to me, if I'm aware that I cannot claim anything from myself, it's all 100% pure rahmah, pure blessing, then it's easier to share with others, to do good to others as God has done good unto me. First, there is no way we can claim superiority, because it's not like you are lazy or you are not as successful or whatever we imagine. Whatever I'm giving to myself, I think if the other doesn't have the same thing, something must be lacking in them. It's all imagination. Some people may be better, but it just happened that you were given this. It's just where you were born, how tall you are, how all these things. It's not because you did something. Everything else is the same. And it's not what we have that makes a difference. It's what we do with it, our attitude, that's going to make a difference. A difference in how joyful, happy, grateful we live in this life, and how we prepare for the eternal life. Everything else is just an illusion. We think that superiority comes from the ego claiming things that do not exist. We don't really have. I'm claiming for myself something that is not mine, betraying the trust, and therefore he oppressed the others because he's saying, I'm better than you, whatever he's doing. And it becomes not easy to give, because why should I give? It's mine. I made it. I created this wealth, it seems. So it says, seek the life to come by means of what God has granted you. When someone is in that disconnected attitude, we are not preparing, and we cannot prepare for the life to come. Even if we give something, we think we are giving it. It's mine, and I'm sacrificing, and I'm giving, and now I'm as if like saying to God, you see, I gave my wealth, you give me paradise. The wealth was not mine from the beginning, and it would have been much easier to give it if I acknowledge that it's not mine, and therefore that the source is endless, here, now, and forever. And in that action, there is no belief in akhirah, because I'm not sure about akhirah. Maybe, may not be. As long as there is the ego, akhirah is a big question mark. Do not seek to spread corruption in the land, for God does not love those who spread corruption. But he answered, this wealth and the power that comes with it was given to me on account of the knowledge I possess. Did he not know that God has destroyed many generations before him who had greater power than him and built greater wealth? The guilty would not be questions about their sins, and so he went forth before his people in all his pomp, and those who cared only for the life of this world would say, oh, if only we had the like of what Qarun has been given. Because the criteria is the life of this world only. Truly, he is endowed with tremendous good fortune. But those who were given knowledge, this is the true knowledge, they were truly, Allah is saying, they were given knowledge. They were given the wisdom that this world is fleeting. Whatever you are given, alhamdulillah, you are not here, you're traveling. Focus on your destination. Said, alas for you, God's reward is far better for those who believe and do good deeds. But only those who are steadfast, sabirun, will attain this. And thereupon we caused the earth to swallow him and his home. And he had none and nothing to help him against God, nor could he defend himself. And the next day, those who but the day before had longed to be in his place exclaimed, alas, that is indeed God alone who grants abundant sustenance or gives it sparingly unto whichever he wills of his creatures. Had not God been gracious to us, he might have caused the earth to swallow us as well. Alas, indeed, those who deny the truth will never prosper. We grant the home in the hereafter to those who do not seek superiority on earth nor spread corruption. The happy ending is awarded to those who are mindful of God. Isn't it clear? It summarizes everything. If we keep, and this kind of things are repeated in the Quran from different perspectives, this is Qarun, wealth. We have Fir'aun, power, and Fir'aun also claimed to be the Rabb, the Lord, the sustainer of everything. So when we say that everything is given to us, it means really everything. It means 100%. It doesn't mean that we will overnight acknowledge 100%. But in each event and each thing, this is what we strive for. At least if we have the blueprint is correct, we will build accordingly, or the map is correct, we will follow the road accordingly. The map needs to be at least correct. So the map is 100% does not belong to us. It means my part is 0. What belongs to me is only the weakness and the powerlessness and the needs and the desire that come, they come all together. That's mine. Anything else, and I'm not saying we start with this. This is what we need to testify, to witness, to pay attention with. Is this true? I will ask myself each time. And if it feels, but there is a little bit that feel to me, I will say astaghfirullah, even if I'm not ready today, I will carry on tomorrow. But this is the goal. And this is not something to understand, or it's not like we don't understand this reality. Because deep down, if we sit and pause and just listen, deep down we know nothing is ours, because life is not ours, because the breath is not under my control. If we just focus on the breath every day, that reality will be my reality, that I am being sustained in life here and now. And after that, I can claim it'll be much easier to hand over the mulk, the property, back to its true owner. But the problem is that we forget. And why do we forget? It's because we don't do the dhikr. We don't remember. We don't keep mentioning and remembering. And remembering is not only words. The words are to remind us to practice. Practice, witness, taste, feel, hear, listen, see. So as we remember, that's the dhikr. Repeatedly mentioning, acknowledging, appreciating, feeling the gratitude of being taken care of here and now, of being gifted with blessings, with life, with divine guidance. And dhikr is so important. I know we talked about it a lot, but if Allah is repeatedly mentioning the importance of dhikr in the Quran, it means it's very important. And one ayah that always comes to my mind is in Surah Al-Zukhruf, Surah 43, ayah 36. But if we start from 35, just to give a little bit of context, in 35 we are told all the gold and the wealth and things, all that is mere enjoyment of the life of this world. And the hereafter, with your sustainer, awaits the God conscious. And now 36 is the ayah talked about. But as for anyone who remains blind to the remembrance of the most compassionate, we assign to him a shaitan, a Satan, who is then a companion unto him. وَمَنْ يَعْشُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّضْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ. Anyone who remains, who stays, who is blind to the remembrance of God, anyone who is not remembering God, who is stays away from remembering God, from remembering the most compassionate, it means remembering the rahmah that is all from the most compassionate, we assign to him a Satan that becomes his qareen. He is like close companion, like an other self. Shaitan here is anything that takes us away from God. And I mentioned this at the beginning. Here it was mentioned. The whole passage from the Quran at the beginning is that we have been given this potential to be the best of the best in the creation, Yet, if we don't fulfill this potential, then we will fall to the lowest of the low. There is no in between. When we are not consciously working through fulfilling this, the potential of our and the purpose of our creation, then automatically by default we start falling to the lowest of the low. And this is the same. If you are not busy with the remembrance of the most merciful, then you are getting away from God. If you are not seeing and witnessing, if you have the names of God wherever you look, if you don't see the wajh Allah, the countenance of God wherever you look, it means if you have not learned to read the ayat, the signs of God, it means you are not seeing the signs of God, you are seeing things happening on themselves. That's it. There is no in between. It means if you don't see the reality, what you are seeing is falsehood. So, inshallah, what we need to do is learn to remember God. How do we? Here there are two things, remember and God. Remember means I know God, and now I remember. I keep remembering. So I need to know God. God makes himself known in the Quran through his creation with his beautiful names. It means it's always sending us back to the creation. So I go to the creation and learn to read the signs, the ayat. When I read ayat, I will see that they all talk about God and make him known with his beautiful names. And now I will start remembering. And I'm not remembering only in my imagination when I am like, I don't see anything. That may be included, but also when I see, everything I see will remind me of God. I remember them and glorify together with the creation by means of the creation out there and eventually inside as well. Otherwise, I'll find myself getting away and away. And one way, and so this way will, this dhikr, this remembrance will keep us aware of the tasghir. Everything is being subjugated to us. And so when we are aware that everything is being subjugated to us, then we will appreciate it. That's in the fitrah. When we appreciate it, our fitri response will be gratitude. And gratitude, we're grateful for the blessing, and we start using them according to, we feel the need to use them according to divine guidance. We will feel the need for divine guidance, not according to our whims, not to oppress others. That already means we are in the ego phase, way of being, and therefore disconnected from the reality. That gratitude, it does not really go to God, the creator of everything. It's the God that we imagine.
Dr. Yamina, there's a question in the chat box about which surah and ayah is this from? The one about Allah assigning a shaitan to those who are not in remembrance. Could you please repeat that again?
Yeah, it's Surah Al-Zukhruf, Surah 43, Ayah 36.
Okay, I'll put in the chat box 43, 36.
Also, could a shaitan be like a deep-held belief that is based on a falsehood or that is ego-based?
Sorry? Could the shaitan be?
Could a shaitan be a a deep held belief that is a falsehood. It's based on the ego.
I mean, have not thought about it that way. Let's say shaitan is anything that takes us away from the truth, away from the path, away from God.
So if a deep held belief does that, then it would be,
Well, instead of saying it is
Yeah.
shaitan, it is from shaitan.
it's from shaitan. Yeah.
Yeah, so inshallah, let's not be like Qarun here, or Fir'aun, and let's keep in mind that we have the potential of Qarun, we have the potential of Fir'aun, and if we don't want to end up like them, then with better intent, inshallah, to deliberately, consciously follow divine guidance and recognize our ubudiyya, our being abd, and practice it, inshallah. We'll stop here. Oh, Tasnia should have told me about the time. Astaghfirullah, sorry about that. Subhanak Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqan warzuqna ittiba'ah wa arina al-batila batilan warzuqna ijtinabah. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. آمين. والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum. Anyone wants to end with any words? Go ahead before we end the session, inshallah.
I've just been thinking of like an art project to that would help maybe all of us express how, what we're learning here. So I was just wanting to invite anybody who uses that form of learning. It could also just be a visualization of everything, including that which is invisible, being 100% connected to what's putting us here, the power, the source of what's putting us here. And so I just wanted to invite anybody who wants to do this. I have a sort of an image in my own mind. I know it's not like the way that Allah is actually doing it, subhanAllah, but it's helping me at least, like, it's helping me at least visualize everything totally belonging to him, and that I feel like it's helping me realize the truth of that, inshallah. So just wanted to invite for that.
Inshallah, everyone, they can get in touch with you, inshallah. Okay. Thanks again. Assalamu alaikum. Fallahu khayru hafidhan wa huwa arhamur rahimin. May everyone stay.
Ameen. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Yamina, and everyone. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you. Fi amanillah.